From a stutter that almost kept her out of acting, to her fateful romance with Michael Bublé, let's check out some shockingly uncharacteristic facts about Emily Blunt before she was famous, like her schoolgirl stutter, which got her into some pretty embarrassing situations, one of which she revealed to Vogue. Now, let's set up the scene. It was the peak of winter, and there was young Em as a 10-year-old. Her school was celebrating Christmas, and everyone was dressed as some festive character. But she had to dress up as Tiny Tim, from the Christmas Carol, because she had gotten her knees in a bend and was on crutches at the time. So the day comes. There goes Em as Tim, with her pants, vest, coat, scarf, and crutches. But just as her teacher asked her who she was dressed as, she just couldn't get the words out of her mouth. She called it such an awful experience, but then laughed it off, saying that she had her fair share of embarrassing moments, and that no one goes through life unscathed. Not that we don't agree, but considering how big a superstar she is now, it's obviously a little unimaginable. Just like the fact that there was a time when Emily didn't even want to be an actor. I know, it's shocking. But it makes sense, right? There she was, a stuttering kid who just couldn't see herself in a job where speaking would be her main role. Instead, she wanted to work as a Spanish translator at the UN. Part of the reason was that her mom was a linguist herself, and young Em was super inspired by her. But then, as she worked on polishing her language skills, Emily realized, thanks to a high school teacher, that the only way to avoid her stutter was to speak in silly voices and made-up accents, which is what pushed her to start acting. It was up to me, I'd say this was her calling, but for the actor, it wasn't that big a deal. Or she just found a way to get over her disability. And if it was through acting, well, why not? Now I have to say, as someone who couldn't see herself in this career, Emily's done pretty well for herself. Well, being an understatement, of course. I mean, have you seen a more versatile actor than her? But she credits this to her stutter as well, saying that when you can't speak, you learn to observe nuances and behaviors, which is what she used to do, and still does to understand and shape her characters in films. Like when she stole a dialogue for The Devil Wears Prada, from none other than a random mom scolding her kid at the supermarket. Can you believe that? Like, imagine the Emily Blunt eavesdropping on the poor kid being straightened up by his mother. And what was the line? Well, you remember the iconic, "Yeah, I'm hearing this and I want to hear this" from the film? This absolute zinger really wasn't a stroke of genius by the writers, but actually a product of a super frustrated mom having it out with her kid. Only Emily was there to hear it all. I wonder what else she heard during that exchange. But yeah, you know what I said about her observation skills. This just proves she's got those in plenty. Although, I wonder if she'd be able to hear the conversation at all back then. If she was the super popular Blunt she's now, I bet not. But then again, I'm happy she got her 15 minutes of anonymity before a lifetime of fame. Because not only was she able to recreate that iconic line, but also had Dame Judi Dench as her mentor and bodyguard. Okay, that last word's an overstatement, but she definitely did work with a veteran in a play, a long time ago when she was just a newbie. In fact, it was her first ever acting role in a West End play called The Royal Family, and it would have been a pretty normal experience for her until she realized while prepping for her role that none other than Judi Dench had started to speak behind her. Now, you have to know, this was back when she still wanted to be a translator and had fully planned to pursue linguistic studies at university. But as luck would have it, she got to work with Dench, who, by the way, told her to come straight to her if anyone from the production gave her any trouble. You see why I called the senior actor her bodyguard? I think it was nice of Judi to take young Emily under her wings, because it not only inspired her to learn from her, but also kicked the dream of being a translator out of her head. Honestly, can you even imagine a world without Emily Blunt? I bet John Krasinski definitely cannot, but we'll get to him a little later. For now, let's talk about the roles she lost just because she wasn't an A-lister back then. For context, let me just tell you that when Mary Poppins was being remade, Emily was the deciding vote. And the creators even said that they'd move on to another project entirely if she said no to the film. Yep, that's the Blunt charm now. But back then, she wasn't a make-or-break actor in Hollywood, which is why she actually lost 2 Marvel roles. That could probably have made her into an unforgettable superhero. Not that she's any less of one now, but you get my point. The roles in question were a Black Widow, or actually Natasha Romanoff in Iron Man 2, which she let go because of scheduling issues with Gulliver's Travels, and the other one was Peggy Carter in Captain America. But these aren't the only ones she's lost in her career. Did you guys know she was in the running to play Rachel Dawes in The Dark Knight, Eliza Doolittle in My Fair Lady, and Madeline in The Departed? Those are some major parts. But guess it all worked out for her in the end, because with The Edge of Tomorrow, The Quiet Place, Into the Woods, and Oppenheimer on her list, I bet she doesn't even give a second thought to the roles that got away. And as many versatile roles as she's played, she's also made some pretty epic red carpet appearances in her career. In fact, you can't even imagine her looks before the fame, because you probably wouldn't even be able to recognize her. Just take a look at young Em from a 2004 red carpet. So effortlessly pretty. No wonder Judi Dench wanted to protect her during their play. Over the years, Emily, like us, has experimented a lot with her looks. Not that they were never on point, but you gotta admit, you can easily spot the changes on her face, whether they were because of aging, makeup, or even, some nips here and tucks there. Now, I won't reveal the actor's secrets here, but just take a look at her pictures from the 2009 Elle Women in Hollywood tribute, her 2012 LOB look from a movie premiere, and this 2022 photograph from a recent interview. You see what I see, right? But hey, looks aside, you can't deny that the actor's got the exact charm that can make a guy fall in love at first sight with her. Yep, I'm talking about her whirlwind romance with her husband. Like, have you guys seen them together? Their chemistry is amazing. In fact, I absolutely love when they joke about each other. Like when John said how people couldn't believe he was her husband at the airport. Or when Emily joked that she couldn't even complain to HR about the issue she was facing in The Quiet Place, because the lead guy was literally her husband. Oh, and also when she said he'd have been in big trouble if he hadn't cast her in that role. Like I said, cuteness all along. But did you know that before all this happened, she actually dated Michael Bublé for 3 years? Yep, they officially became a couple in 2005, when Emily was just a struggling actor in the industry. But Bublé was already a big name. They even showed up to the Devil Wears Prada red carpet together, all happy and smiley with each other. In fact, did you guys know that Michael's even written songs about her? Ever heard his hit single Everything? That's an ode to Miss Emily right here. She's even featured on his album Call Me Irresponsible, and has sung a few lines for his song Me and Mrs. Jones. That was peak 2007, when Em and Bublé were living in her $2.2 million house in Vancouver. But as luck, or fate, would have it, rumors about Michael cheating on her surfaced, resulting in them finally breaking up. Not that I'm excited about their heartbreak or anything, but if she hadn't broken up with him, how would she have met John? And like I said earlier, it was love at first sight for both of them, which, by the way, is still going strong, and is something I can bet would probably never happen if she was still with Bublé. But then again, I may just be biased. So there you have it. From her fateful romance with Michael Bublé to her childhood stutter, that's everything you needed to know about Emily Blunt before she was a famous superstar. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.